Welcome. This is the Chino Valley Teacher Induction Program, Inquiry Submission Review Training and Calibration. During the video training today, we will cover these topics: teacher preparation requirements for the state of California, internal biases, the use of the scoring rubric and preponderance of evidence, and then we'll be more local program specific with going over the scoring process. In the state of California, teachers go through a program where they complete the preliminary credential requirements. This includes formal coursework, supervised teaching, either as a student teacher or an intern, and completing and passing the Teaching Performance Assessment, otherwise known as the TPAs. Once a teacher has a clear credential, they have 5 years to clear it and earn a professional clear credential. They do that through the process of induction, which is a job-embedded system of support that includes direct collaboration with a mentor, setting goals, and working towards mastery of the CSTPs, professional development, including job-related PD, the conversations that are had with the mentor, and also self-directed and self-selected professional learning opportunities. Teacher induction is not supposed to be busy work or add to the burden of new teachers, but rather to help them in the form of goal setting, developing action plans, having the program be individualized for the teacher's unique needs, providing constructive feedback, and regular meetings to provide ongoing and just-in-time support. As you know, the Chino Valley Teacher Induction Program is a 2-year program that consists of 3 inquiry cycles per year that support one overarching goal per year. Each inquiry cycle is about 10 to 12 weeks long, and the activities the teacher documents with the help of their mentor are reviewed after each cycle to help monitor progress towards mastery of the California standards for the teaching profession. We all have some sort of internal biases, and it isn't all bad. We just need to be aware of it when we are looking at reviewing teachers' work, just like we need to with looking at student work. Bias is part of being a thinking person, and bias is part of the way we see the world. Bias is our own personal way of interacting with the world based on our different histories and experiences. Bias is built into the issues important to us. Bias is part of our disagreements with others. And bias informs how we evaluate our own work. We also make judgments, whether we realize it or not. We make judgments throughout the day about how we conduct ourselves and how we interact with others, how we do our work and evaluate the work of others. In part, our judgments originate from assumptions based on our own experiences. And as we grow, we receive messages about competence, accomplishment, ways of talking and behaving, appearance, gender, race, class. We use certain assumptions or biases, often unconsciously, to make judgments about things so we can understand our surroundings on our terms. And each of us prefers specific approaches and strategies for doing quality work, and we know when we see quality work and effort. And we often critique others on characteristics we do not like to see in ourselves. So as you're looking at teacher work, think about, are you being biased because this is not done exactly the way you would do it? Or is it a bias or a critique because it's actually not competent? So we need to know the difference. When we are reviewing teacher submissions, it is important to remember that we are not evaluating the documents per se, but we are looking for teacher growth towards mastery of the CSTPs. So as we score responses, we need to be able to separate our personal biases from the evaluation of evidence to the demonstration and growth of professional understanding, knowledge, and skill. A focus on evidence provided in a response will provide reviews that are meaningful and used to inform. And a portfolio evidence, remember, is qualitative, not quantitative. So it's not how much, but how deep and thoughtful the documentation and reflecting the conversations is. So when we talk about bias-free evaluation, it is impossible to be completely bias-free, but we need to be able to review the teacher's submissions with an open mind. If you have problems with understanding a teacher's position about judgment, without judgmental bias, please contact me. Hopefully you see how bias impacts fair judgment. So we can identify our own biases. We can learn how biases interfere with our assessment of performance, and we can see how bias affects judgment, and we can separate bias from judgment. We review the teacher's submissions according to a rubric so that we are as impartial and unbiased as possible and used to determine the efficacy of, of the participating teacher's performance. So remember, reviewing is not about you. Reviewing is about determining the efficacy of the participating teacher's performance. Reviewing is about identifying aspects of the participating teacher's understanding, knowledge, skill, and competence. So let's look at the reviewing system. The reviewing system is developed to guide evidence-based reviewing. These are some of the internal biases that mentors have when they are reviewing portfolios sometimes. They have issues about grammar or spelling, and they can interpret that as being careless, or the teacher's being careless or lazy if they're fussy about grammar or spelling. Organization of the work. Sometimes we think people are poorly educated because they don't organize things the way we do. The failure to follow directions. And the interpretation could be that the teacher does not want to demonstrate limited knowledge. They want to show other stuff. Concise writing, response length. Sometimes we say that's limited evidence, and it might just be concise. If there's missing words, sometimes we think that they have little to say, or they're covering up their lack of knowledge. Also with descriptive writing, if they go on and on and on, writing around the prompt, sometimes we think that they're covering up their lack of knowledge about something. So as you read the responses on the tools, please remember that there will be more casual responses since narratives are not required. The mentors should be scribing as the teachers talk. Consequently, there might be sections that are somewhat cryptic. Please refer to the scoring rubric if you are not sure whether there is enough preponderance of evidence to be able to mark the tool complete. So, again, some of the common concerns also might be the flexibility of the program. So the tool choice, remember they are given a latitude to modify or use local tools. The tools might be electronic or handwritten. And some of the mentor concerns might be that the mentors are completing the current tool, depending on how it's been completed. Sometimes it's a mentor issue, not the candidate's issue. And also sometimes did the mentor meet with the candidate regularly? So, sometimes they met 2 hours for 1 week and then skipped a week and then met 2 hours more. But the average is about 4 hours a month, or that's what the intention is. So hopefully the tools will indicate that they were meeting at that pace. Sometimes we need to make sure that we are consistent and fair, and consistency is often seen as an important characteristic of fairness, so be consistent as you go through the reading. Consistency improves comparability, so if you are being consistent, then you are comparing pretty much apples to apples, not apples to oranges, as you go through the teacher's work or go from one teacher to another teacher's work. And consistency can restrict the opportunity to unfairly judge novel, unique, or culturally appropriate approaches. So remember, though, that you want to be consistent, but you need to understand that sometimes people come from different places. So sometimes you need to be consistent but flexible, if that makes sense. Teacher growth over time will include a variety of components, and teachers will grow at different paces. But the important thing is that teachers are making progress towards mastery of the CSTPs. These are some things to look for as you read the teacher's submissions. Reflection, is it a reflective conversation that they're having with their mentor? Content, knowledge, and quality teaching. Collaboration with mentor and colleagues. Planning for students with diverse learning needs. Family and community involvement. And then responsiveness to student data. Here is the rubric that we are using to guide our review. We are not scoring the documents, but this rubric will help us when we question if there is a preponderance of evidence to show growth and effort. Please take a moment to read this. All documents must be at the meeting induction standard or the exceeding induction standard to be considered complete. If you think that it would only be approaching or below, do not mark complete, but make a comment to the candidate asking for more information in the area you feel it is deficient. We are trying to be consistent and fair. Now that we've covered some of the background information, here is the step-by-step process for scoring the teacher's documents. We call this doing a read. So you're going to log on to your Google Classroom and open the class with which you are going to be working. You'll have been assigned. Whether you are working with the Induction Year 1, Year 2, or the Early Completion option. Click on the Grades tab in the banner at the top of the class that you've opened. Find the names of the people you have been assigned to review. Scroll across to find assignments that have been, it'll say turned in. And click on the assignment and see the snowman, the 3 dots on the right, and then click on that and then click on View Submission. So here are the directions then for reviewing the submission once you've opened it. Again, if you have any questions, please call me. Look at the document. The submission is not technically graded or scored. Again, it's reviewed to see if it's done, if it is complete, and if there needs to be enough there, the preponderance of evidence, to demonstrate that the work has either been done or discussed and reflected upon. If it would satisfy the meeting or exceeding definition on the scoring rubric, please mark complete in the private comments box and click Post. And if it's complete, then click Return, and then it'll say Return this submission. You will be assigned a group of candidates' work to review, and please remember that all work that you do with the review is confidential. So please do not discuss it with any of the other mentors or with any of the other teachers. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please call or email me.